Hi, Kimberly. Thanks for joining us today. I would first love to ask, how was everything like as a student in the beginning of the pandemic?
At first, I didn't know what to expect, obviously. Like, it was the first time realizing, like, oh, everything's gonna be online. And I think a lot of us at first were excited because the we didn't know that we were gonna be out of school. We didn't know everything was gonna be virtual until I think 2 or 3 weeks after the shutdown, right? So that was back in March. So at first, everyone that I knew was just kind of celebrating, like, oh my goodness, we get to be indoors, like, not really taking it seriously. And then I think once April hit, everyone started to realize, myself included, like, oh, like we're gonna really be isolated and shut away from each other.
Yeah, I too had the same experience where, in the beginning I was pretty chill. I was doing my research paper and I was like, oh yeah, I had extra time. But then when reality hits, it was a different story. So the next question would be, with everything being online, how has it been for you as a student?
It's a lot right now, a lot for so many undergraduate students. Like, where do I even start? I feel like I was doing good, with the transition at first. I was okay with the time. I was okay at the time doing my work online and still completing my assignments, and I was fine. But I feel like with this semester, I don't know what it is about the way this semester started, but myself and almost all of my friends included, students of all from all backgrounds, students from different majors, like we're all running into the same thing where it's like we don't really find I don't know if it's motivation or it's just a lot more difficult to complete things that were easier to do before the pandemic, if that makes sense. Like this semester, I realized, like, for me personally, this has been my worst semester in my 4 years here at State. I know it varies per discipline. Like, I know for some, like, for example, like myself, I'm studying child and adolescent development. And for that major, most of the classes require you to read like a lot of papers, read a lot of articles, read a lot of journals, and to write a lot as well. So specifically, right now is midterm season. And I'm used to midterm season, meaning having a lot of essays due, a lot more discussions that would be graded, a lot more group work. I know in the beginning, first 2 weeks of the semester, I was telling myself this is going to be okay. Like, I know exactly what to do. I've been a student before and I know how to treat these assignments. Like, it's nothing new really. But basically right now, I know I'm struggling to just sit down at my desk, and I don't know. I think what's making it difficult to just focus on that assignment, focus on, writing an essay, is just the fact that I'm in the same location as I've been the past several months, to go through the day and then realize you're kind of in the same place the next day and the next day and the next day. And, like, I do work. I still work, so that's good. I'm able to go outside. But realizing, like, you come back home and there's still like homework to do. There's still lectures to watch and studying. Something about everything kind of being the same every day, I think, is what's making everything a lot harder. I think it's very easy to forget, like, why you're in school, even though I'm a fourth year. Like, I feel at times like it's very difficult to remember, like, oh, what am I doing this for? When each day in most of this past year has been the same. My own thoughts became a lot more negative, and during that, I don't know, during maybe week 3 to up to week 6, week 7, really up until like the last week. It was very difficult to concentrate on anything because you start to, at least in my case, and I know in a lot of my friends' cases, they started to ask themselves more existential questions that I guess never really crossed our minds. And just,
what are the questions like?
Oh, just, I mean, I would say it's just like, even though the fear is irrational, but things like, is this how society is going to look like more in a few years? Like this kind of isolated feeling, like the feeling of loneliness and the feeling of like, I don't know, like somehow wasting your time, like it's not your fault, but somehow feeling like you're wasting your time in some way, but we can't do anything about it. Like feelings of no control. And it's crazy because I know for me, it felt like, well, kind of to go back, like for me, it felt like time was kind of slipping, and like it just seemed like each day turned into the next day, and then it's week 2 and week 3 and week 4, and then you're like, what have I been doing the past few weeks? How did time go so fast? And then that's scary. I think that's that's one of the most scariest things, to realize like it feels like your life is just slipping away, and you're doing your work, but maybe it's not to the best of what you think is your best, and it's just like a lot of different things happening to you internally, besides seeing that you submitted your paper on Turnitin or checking your iLearn grades. Like there's really no way to, I don't know, to really see what you've accomplished. Like there's really, like there's nothing physical, like there's no physical action. Like you're not physically turning in that piece of paper. You're not at the library working for 8 hours straight, tired, getting your coffee, going home exhausted. Like you're not going through that either. You're not, I don't know, like it's very difficult to measure your achievements because you have to measure it in a way that you didn't do in the past.